Good evening, my fellow Americans. This is the 25th of October edition of A Quiet Rage. Tonight, what I want to talk to you about is a little bit of my response to the response of the right to our No Kings, our second No Kings rally this last weekend. Something like 7 million people attended. But there was a lot of back and forth on the Facebooks, and I'm sure some of the other social media as well. People, Republicans, conservatives, saying, I don't understand why are these people protesting? Of course we don't have kings. We fought a war about it. Yeah, well, the Tree of Liberty and all that. So, my response to people on the right, people wondering why we are protesting, is how many times does Trump need to tell you that he's an authoritarian before you're going to believe him? It's not like he's keeping it a secret. He tried during the campaign, he tried to tell us that Project 2025 he didn't know anything about that. We were all blowing that out of proportion. Well, he's hired an awful lot of people who had hand in writing the handbook, Project 2025. Russell Vogt is one of them. He is actively dismantling the Department of Education, which was right there in Project 2025. And here's another, just aside. How many things does the left have to be told that we're being hysterical about have to come true for you to believe us? Because we said when he got into office that Roe v. Wade was going to go away, and we were told we were being ridiculous. Surprise, surprise! Roe v. Wade was not overturned, but it was overruled. How many times do we have to be right? And we do. Here's the thing. We on the left, we anti-Trump folks, we want to be wrong. I promise you, we want to be wrong about this man so bad. But we're not. He keeps proving us right. And his administration keeps doing things that reinforce that he is an authoritarian and saying the quiet part out loud. Just a few examples. Sending National Guard troops from other states into states that have said, governors, mayors, chiefs of police have said, we don't need the National Guard. We're fine here, thanks anyway. And he's still trying to send troops, National Guard troops, from other states into those states. That's just because Portland is apparently burning to the ground, where people in chicken costumes and inflatable frogs. Heaven forbid. It's terrible. It's awful there. When his district attorney here in Virginia wouldn't bring an indictment against James Comey because the evidence wasn't there, that attorney was forced out, and somebody who's never prosecuted a criminal case in her life was put in his place and got a grand jury to indict. And it was only I think it was, if there were 14 people in the jury, then 8 voted for it. It wasn't a resounding yes, is what I'm saying. He's got people in the Smithsonian Museum, our national museum. He's got people going through it to make sure not that things are accurate. Accuracy is not the goal here. He wants the Smithsonian to reflect his values. Well, that's not what a museum is for. A museum is supposed to present accuracy. He doesn't want us seeing slavery presented as a bad thing that America did. It's a bad thing, and America did it. We can't hide from this. The president has said the president is not excited about Zoran Mamdani potentially winning the mayoral race in New York, and has said if he does win, it doesn't matter. Everything goes through the White House, at least in this White House it does. Like, why? Why does New York City need to be on the president's radar at all? Why? Why would he care who they elected governor or mayor? Sorry. It does. He's the president. He's got a job. It's being the president. It's not being mayor of New York. He and his administration keep saying the quiet part out loud. For example, here's just a quick video of Stephen Miller accidentally saying the quiet part out loud, realizing it in real time, and then absolutely his fight or flight responses did not kick in. He went with option 3 and he froze.
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me?
Now, plenary authority is not something that the president has. That's not a real thing. Not. There are checks and balances on the president's authority. He does not have plenary authority. Apparently, there's a plan for him to somehow get plenary authority. Now, why would I say that? Well...
And does he need a third term in order to see that job through?
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28. Trump is going to be president in 28. And people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28.
There you go. Steve Bannon saying there's a plan, not saying what the plan is. Nothing about we intend to introduce legislation to repeal or amend the 22nd Amendment. Nothing like that. There's a plan. And it's going to be laid out at the appropriate time. And I said in a previous episode that loyalty pledges are coming. Well, we've got a version of it already. The Pentagon tried to get reporters who have access to the Pentagon to sign a pledge saying that they would not talk to any sources or report any news, report any items, anything that is not, whether classified or unclassified, that was not already cleared by the Pentagon. And fortunately, pretty much the entire spectrum of political reporting said, we're absolutely not signing that, and they turned in their press passes. The one news outlet that we know of that did sign the pledge was One American Network. And they're to the right of Fox News, so that's really not a surprise. There will be something else is coming. There will be another loyalty pledge. Mark my words. This was not the end. It's not the beginning either. This is only the middle. And I would love for someone on the right, please go ahead in the comments. Please explain to me how removing the press credentials of any reporter who won't sign a pledge that says, I will not report anything that is not cleared ahead of time by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of Defense. Please explain to me how that's a good thing. Please explain to me how that's not an authoritarian play. Go ahead. You're going to look stupid because you're going to be wrong. But go ahead and try. Go ahead. He is an authoritarian. He is a fascist. The president of these United States, President Donald Trump, our president, is an authoritarian and a fascist. That's the reality we live in. He just tore down the East Wing of the White House, first built in 1902 by Theodore Roosevelt, traditionally used as the offices of the First Lady. A lot of history happened in that building, and he just tore it down to build a ballroom that nobody asked for. During a government shutdown, the result of which is a lot of people are not getting paychecks, including the military. This is a let them eat cake moment if I've ever seen one. This man doesn't give a single fuck about anybody that doesn't help him. And he's building himself a monument. This ballroom is going to be larger in square footage than the White House. He's building himself a monument on federal property, attached to the White House. And it's going to get worse. I promise you there's more. It's coming. There's going to be more. So, what can we do about it? Well, there's going to be, there's already word that there's going to be a third No Kings rally. I strongly urge everyone to attend and to protest peacefully, have a snarky sign. Let's see if we can go for 14 million this time. Let's just keep more and more people attending and peacefully protesting, just like we have the last two times. So protest, vote. If there's an election in your vicinity this next month, go vote. Make sure you get out and vote. Get other like-minded people out to vote. Find a candidate, for the midterms coming up next year. Start paying attention to candidates in your area. They're going to, as soon as this November is done, they're going to start for the next one. So it won't be hard to find them. But pay attention to who's running in your area and see if you can volunteer for them. See if you can do some canvassing or something. Make some phone calls, knock on some doors. Put a yard sign up. As always, find your local democratic organization. Join. Go to meetings. Pay your dues. I've said it before, we're going to have a lot of work to do when he gets out of office. However it is he gets out of office, we're going to have a lot of work to do. And we're going to need a lot of hands to do it. So, protest, volunteer, vote, and if you haven't already, have a little one-on-one conversation with yourself and figure out where do you draw the line. There's the famous poem about the Holocaust that they came for the Jews, or first I don't know the poem, but first they came for, and it lists the people, and I didn't say anything, and then they came for me, and there was no one to speak for me. That's the end of the poem. Well, where's your line? At what point are you gonna put your stake in the ground and say, no, I'm not gonna sit idly by. I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna stand on principle. Where's your line? You need to know where that is. You need to be ready when that comes. It's coming. I promise you it's coming. For a lot of us, it's already passed. Masked secret police in our streets snatching people in broad daylight in unmarked cars. That's a bridge too far for me, for a lot of us. And we need to resist in peaceful ways, but we need to resist. So know where your line is, and be ready, because they're planning on crossing it. I guarantee it. They've already told us, Trump 28, they're going to cross that line. So, if, like me, you recognize a fascist and an authoritarian when you see one, and when they tell you repeatedly that they are one, if you are like me in that way, and keep your powder dry, and keep your quiet rage, and good night to you, my fellow Americans.